As I tend to repeat at the start of each of these second-order effects videos, I'm not here to tell you what you already know. I'm sure you already know that widespread adoption of generative AI technologies will probably lead to labor market disruptions, new security vulnerabilities, and plenty of unanticipated opportunities. That's old news. So in the context of the manufacturing and transport industries, I won't spend time on how AI will identify new ultra-efficient workflow models, allow for more accurate long-term planning, permit customized production for niche markets without losing the advantages of mass production, and in all likelihood, destroy business models that don't incorporate AI. That's mostly obvious, and in any case, those are just amplifications of the changes digitization and automation have been providing for at least the past 50 years. So here are a couple of possible second-order effects you might not have thought about. Think about the big world-changing innovations of the 19th century. I mean the steam engine, railways, refrigeration, sewing machines, telephones, telegraphs, photography, electrification, and the Bessemer process that allowed mass production of steel. Who came up with all those ideas, and what was it that inspired them? In fact, it would seem that most inventors are neither scientists nor researchers. As a rule, they tend to be curious and ambitious individuals who often worked within the industries they would eventually revolutionize. They're people who understand how things work now and have the imagination and motivation to picture how their work could be improved. It was engineers and physicists who came up with lasers, but it was practical and experienced tradesmen who adopted the technology for use as levels and measures. And who's behind the astonishing transformation of dentistry from the relatively scary and painful practice of my youth into the fast, friendly, and efficient experience my kids grew up with? That was actually mostly dentists who visualized better ways for doing things and patented better devices. Similarly, for better or for worse, many of the software platforms that had the biggest impact on 21st century society were the products of highly focused but uncredentialed tinkerers like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Michael Dell, and Mark Zuckerberg. I may be wrong, but I don't think any of them finished their college degrees, and certainly none of them were professional researchers. Each of them saw gaps in existing markets and figured out how to fill them. So think about how the people behind most industrial revolution innovations shared a deep, direct understanding of the way things work and an immersion in the larger economic context. Now think about what we might look like after 10 or 20 years of the generative AI world, when the tool that's smarter than any of us is guiding every step of our work. Will we still really understand what we're doing? Could the changes we're about to experience lead to a loss of critical thinking skills among human workers, making us less effective at solving complex problems without technology? I can't say, but this will definitely count as a second-order effect. One more thought. Who is AI? I mean, from a legal and insurance liability perspective, there's always an identifiable human being or incorporated body responsible for all property. If a car knocks over someone's fence, the driver's responsible. If you can prove it happened because the brand new brakes suddenly failed, the manufacturer or perhaps the technician who installed them might be responsible. If a medical team diagnoses a disease and removes an organ that didn't need removing, they, or their insurance providers, might be responsible. But with the exception of the weather or contractually excluded perils, everything that happens has a party who's responsible. But what if the fault lies with the AI? Who's responsible for that? Who do you take to court? Suppose a self-driving car causes an accident fatality. You might say that it's the car owner who's to blame. But what if the software controlling the car actually belongs to the manufacturer? And what if the manufacturer subcontracted the design and maintenance of individual control systems and it was one of those systems that failed? And what if that misdiagnosis wasn't the fault of the medical team, but of a flaw in the software running their AI scanning equipment? How about millions of dollars in losses incurred by a financial trading firm that relied on sophisticated software to carefully time their transactions? Or a smart home system that goes rogue and decides to shut down your security defenses without telling you? You can see how much fun this will be, or more accurately, how much fun this already is, because many of those concerns are already live and practical. But all of them will probably be coming soon to an insurance policy near you. Have any more thoughts on this? Be in touch.